So as Chris Cody navigates the changing landscape of Highlight, I want to turn to what, in fact, is happening in the changing landscape of college football. Lucy, I've been monitoring you all show, and I can just see you grinding your teeth all day about the ACC.
I love college football so much because it's stupid, but it has reached a point where it's too stupid. It is too dumb. These conferences are so dumb. Right now, we're waiting to see if the ACC officially goes after Stanford and Cal.
Nothing says ACC like Cal.
And
Stanford and
SMU.
UNC.
SMU also somehow has hitched their wagon to this too.
SMU and Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean,
SMU was like, you don't have to pay us for 5 years if you'll take us. And the ACC's like, great. Nothing says Atlantic Coast like Palo Alto, Berkeley, and Dallas. It's too dumb. At first, it was funny. Like when USC and UCLA went to the Big Ten, that was quirky. That was weird. Now it's stupid. It's too dumb.
These conferences need name changes.
Yes.
When are we going to... This is my big question.
One big
What I want to find out is when are these names going to change?
the big one.
I'm like one big conference. I'm waiting for that. Like they're all just going to join the same
one.
conference.
I like that.
The Big One title game? Jeez.
Instead of the I, they have just one, so it's B1G.
Well, they already did that for the Big Ten.
Yeah, but they can steal it.
I like that we're now coming around to Chip Kelly praising Notre Dame for being independent and saying that all college football teams should just be separate than their Olympic sports, and the Olympic sports can be in the conference that is generally regionally based, but then football should break away. Muffet McGraw is calling for it as well. I feel like we're going to see all of the big-time leaders in the Olympic sports, quote-unquote, and the quote-unquote non-revenue generating sports now be like, all right, we need a say in this because this is ridiculous.
No, absolutely. Like I talked to Jim Boeheim about this. I talked to Bob Huggins about this. Like they're
Huggy Bear.
They're pissed.
Doesn't really have a say anymore.
I went to West Virginia I want to say the year after they went to the Final Four, and it was the day they found out that they were leaving the Big East for
the Big 12.
Big 12. And that staff, I've never seen a staff more pissed about, because they were like, Big East, we go to New York for the tournament. Like you spend a week in New York, you play at the Garden, all this stuff. Now we have to go to Kansas City. They were irate, but everyone's saying football's doing this to us. Football is ruining everything, ruining these conferences, ruining these rivalries. And so I agree with Chip Kelly. Separate this stuff. Make your regular sports play in a regular conference so that we can have the ACC basketball back, Big East basketball, the Pac-10 and all. Let's bring it back to the heyday.
Football should be the only one that goes through these
Yeah,
changes.
if you go play in the conference.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I do like that Notre Dame, as all of the great unbundling and rebundling of college sports is happening, is basically just running a Patreon.
Yeah.
You want our football games? Pay us directly. Subscribe.
Well, Peacock, right?
Peacock.
www.pablo.show.
NBC. There is one game on Peacock a year now, which I have in the past said I'm glad that my grandparents are deceased for not having to explain the login situation to them. So yes, but I think it's incredibly silly, especially for this ACC edition, right, Lucy? Because they're not going to be making that much more money, and any money that they'll get from reopening the ESPN deal and adding these teams sounds like it's going to just be offset by the travel costs, because obviously traveling from the Bay Area to Miami or the Bay Area to Virginia or Dallas to wherever, Pittsburgh, that's actually not that long of a flight, but it's ridiculous. It's not going to end up making anyone that much more money. And in the meantime, there's rumors that, Florida State people have explicitly been like, we want to get out of the ACC, but they're so locked into this TV contract that it's going to cost them tons of money to leave and potentially be not worth leaving because of how long the contract is for. So no one has actually decided they're going to do it yet. So it just makes very little sense and seems like something that the ACC is doing as a way to try to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Like the Big 12 did. But then the Big 12 signed the TV deal that kind of made them feel solid, and the ACC can't really do that.
I'm curious to see if the Stanford Cal joining this conference reopens that TV deal in a way that Florida State, Clemson, Miami, UNC now have an avenue to leave. That's the risk you take with that. And also a thing with travel costs is these small sports are not getting the revenue. Like, it's going to be harder for them to fly all of their players out across the country. There are effects just across the board, and they're all bad.
It's very silly. And I do wonder if the argument to break away college football from the universities and the conference structure it's a non-starter because of the lingering question of whether or not these athletes will be classified as employees. Because how can you make that argument that they aren't if you then create their own little separate ecosystem for them to play and for the universities to make the most amount of money off of them versus the quote-unquote non-revenue generating sports? Sorry about that.
Pardon me.
Ew, Jess.
I just like how the person who is most responsible for
Tummy
the
ache city
chaos
back here.
of the ACC, the tummy ache in this conference, happens to be the guy that we all work for.
Yeah, he screwed them, but
John
everything-
Skipper screwed the ACC.
We can
so
always
I do
blame it on
apologize for
Texas.
doing that to your program.
He does a great.
It really is the best.
Mr. Le Batard.
Dan Le Batard.